Hello student, I am Mrs. Alka Sharma from NCMS Jhabua. Today I am taking the class 10 SST Geography chapter 4 Agriculture. My dear student, the lesson number 2 and 3 Forest and Wildlife and Water Resources, these two chapters are deleted this year. So I am taking directly the chapter 4, the Agriculture. As you know, today what we are going to study, see what is the agriculture, what are the different types of farming practices in India, what are the cropping patterns, what type of major crops are grown in our country. So now, as you know, India is an agriculture country. Near about 2/3 of the populations are engaged on agriculture activity, and now it produces most of the food for the consumptions and other raw material that we are used for industries and making different type of products. India is an agriculture country. There's a lot of varieties of the crops are growing that is used for the industries, and this help in the development of our economy also, and so many peoples are engaged. Either some are doing the farming practice, some are joined with the market, and some are helping in the transportation, and some are busy in the industries. So you see today what are the different types of farming in India. Now you see, on the basis of some physical environment, that is very important, like the rainfall pattern, it is not equally rainfall everywhere, it is differ. Second one, land productivity. Some part where there is a good amount of soil, good quality of soil, so production is small. Somewhere is a less quality of soil, so it is not proper. Technological advancement and socio-cultural practice. So these are the various farming practices in India. What are the main base? Physical environment. Physical environment means rainfall pattern, land productivity, technological advancement, and socio-cultural practices. So these are various farming practices in India. Do you know? There are two types of farming: primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. Primitive means old method. You know, this type of farming is carried out by mostly the small farmers, and especially some tribal groups. They use some small patches of the land with the help of primitive tools, like they are using hoe, dhow, digging sticks, and using the family and other community laborers. And mostly they depend on the rainfall, natural fertility of the soils, and production of self-consumption only. So it is also called slash and burning farming. Why? Because mostly these farmers and tribal peoples, they are cutting the forest, and after that they are growing these crops. Up to 5 years they are growing. When the fertility will be reduced, so they then again they burn and left it for some few years. When the fertility will again increase in the soil, so they are growing these crops. In this agriculture, mostly the tribal and farmers, they clear the patch of the forest and burn that region for agriculture practice, and then they leave these patches idle for few years, and this allows the nature to replenish the fertility of the soil. Next is other. Now, the primitive farming is not in our country, it is all over the world. So there are some different names, they are known in the country. See, this primitive method of farming is practiced in many parts of the world by the different names. So you see, milpa in the Mexico and Central America, Conocoa in Venezuela, Roca, it is known in Brazil, Mazol in Central Africa, Lading in Indonesia, and Ray in Vietnam. And India, how these are known? In India, this primitive farming of cultivation is known as different name in different states. Bewad or Dahiya in Madhya Pradesh, Podu or Penda in Andhra Pradesh, Pama Dabi or Koman or Bringa in Odisha, Kumari in Western Ghats, Vellore or Walter in southeastern Rajasthan, Khil in Himalayan belt, Kuruva in Jharkhand, Jhuming in northeastern region, Pamelo in Manipur, and Deepa in Bastar districts of Chhattisgarh and Andaman and Nicobar Island. What is called intensive subsistence farming? Intensive subsistence farming, it is a modern method. In India, is practiced in an area where the high pressure of population on land. Do you know it is a labor intensive farming? Farmers are using heavy biochemical inputs, latest technology, intensive irrigations, and why they are using? Because they need higher production. So nowadays intensive subsistence farming is doing in our country. Now commercial farming. What is called a commercial farming? Do you know the agriculture practices on large scale by using some modern technology to earn good income for the agriculture is called commercial farming. Now, what are the main characteristics of this type of farming? On a large land holding, and they use high levels of input. So, what they are using? They are using high yielding variety of seeds, HYV seeds, good irrigation facilities, they need good chemical fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, etc. So, do you know the amount of commercialization of farming are varies in according to the areas wise. It depends on the climatic conditions also. It needs irrigation facilities and other factors also. If all these are available, then there is a good amount of agriculture process will be done in these places. Now, plantation. Plantation is a type of commercial farming. See, plantation farming produces so many types of raw material for various agro-based industries. In this type of farming, what is done in plantation? See, only a single crop is grown in a large area, large scale in large area using, it needs a large amount of capital investment, and with the help of, they need some migrant laborers, a good network of transport, communication, proper market facilities are required for this. Now, well-known plantation crops, as you know, tea plantation in Assam and North Bengal, and coffee in Karnataka. Now, what are the different cropping patterns in India? Do you know in India there are three types of crops are grown according to the different seasons. Mostly India has a three cropping season, that is called Rabi crop, Kharif crop and Zaid crops. Rabi crops mostly they are, see, these are sown at start and sowing start at the winter October to December. This time the farmers are growing these seeds. After that the harvesting in spring at the start of summer, April to June. Some of the crops are cultivated in these seasons. Which type of crops they are growing in this? They are wheat, barley, pea, gram and mustard. These crops, where mostly these crops are growing? These crops are grown in Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh. No. What are the reasons for successful of Rabi crops in winter months? Due to the western temperature and cyclone that cause rainfall. Now, the green revolution in Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh and part of Rajasthan has led the growth of Rabi crop in these regions. Next is the Kharif crop. Do you know these crops are growing during season of monsoon, May to June, and they are harvested in September and October. Do you know the major Kharif crops are paddy, rice, maize, jowar, bajra, tur, arhar, moong, urad, cotton, jute, groundnut and soybean. These crops are called Kharif crops. Major areas where the paddy crops are cultivated, they are Assam, West Bengal, coastal regions of Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, Konkan coast, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Punjab, Haryana. Do you know it needs lots amount of water. That is why the area where is well irrigated land, area of Assam, West Bengal and Odisha. These three crops of paddies are grown in here. they are named as As, Aman and Boro. Z crop. These crops are grown during summer season. These crops are sown between Rabi and Kharif season, March to June. Some of these crops are producing during these seasons are watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, some vegetables and fodder crops, that for animals. These are growing during this season. Now question comes, what are the major crops that we consume and grown in India? So there are many varieties of food and non-food crops are grown in various regions of the country. They depend upon the different factors, some different cultivation practices, what type of soil is there, and what are the climatic conditions. It depends on this. So the major crops of India, grains and leguminous crops. Grains means wheat, rice, maize, and leguminous crops means pulses. These are the main crops. Rice, wheat, millets and maize. These are the important grains that are grown in India, and pulses are called the leguminous crops. First we will take the rice. It is the staple food crop of majority of the peoples in India. They are consuming this. This is a kharif crop. It requires high temperature above 25 degrees centigrade and high humidity. It needs the rainfall above 100 centimeter. So where there is a good amount of rainfall, that area the farmers are growing paddy. It is grown in area of heavy rainfall. In areas of rainfall like in Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, it is grown with proper irrigation through canals and tubers. Sometimes there is those areas where good amount of irrigation facilities are available, so farmers are growing paddy whole year. Next crop, that is wheat. It is the second most important staple food crop in India. It requires cool growing seasons. Temperature, it needs 10 to 15 degrees centigrade. During growth, and it needs a bright sunshine at the time of ripening. Do you know? It requires temperature 25 to 28 degree and 50 to 70 centimeter rainfall evenly distributed over the growing season. Do you know the two important wheat growing zone in our country are, first one we call Ganga Satluj plain, that is in the northwest, and the black soil region of Deccan Plateau. Millets. These are called coarse grains. Do you know which crops comes under these? These are jowar, bajra and ragi. These are the important millets grown in India. See, these are also known as coarse grain and they have a very high nutrition value. You just see which type of nutrients are present on it. First one is the jowar, and it is also known as sorghum. Do you know it is rich in potassium, phosphorus, calcium and with small amount of iron and sodium. Do you know it is the third most important food crops with respect to the area and its production. It is a rain-fed crops mostly grown in the moist area which do not need much irrigation. Do you know it grows in temperature near about 26 to 33 degree and the rainfall below 100 centimeter. Bajra. Bajra, it is also called a pearl millet. It is known as pearl millet also. It contains iron, folate, magnesium, copper, zinc, calcium and vitamins. Bajra grows well on sandy soil and shallow black soil. It grows in temperature, it needs temperature near about 20 to 28 degrees centigrade and the rainfall 40 to 75 centimeter. Mostly these crops are growing in Rajasthan. Ragi. It is also known as finger millet. It is rich in iron, calcium and roughage. It grows well in dry region and mostly red, black and sandy, loamy and shallow low black soils. It grows in temperature, it needs the temperature 18 to 28 degrees centigrade and rainfall near about 60 to 80 centimeter. Next crop, that is maize. This crop is used both food and fodder for the animals. fodder for the animals. Do you know it is a kharif crop? Although in Bihar it is also called rabi crops because it is grown during that season also. This grows well in old alluvial soil for the best growth. Do you know? It grows in the temperature near about 31 to 32 degrees centigrade and it needs a rainfall 50 to 75 centimeter. Now we have seen which type of grains we are growing. Now what type of pulses we are growing and why it is called leguminous crops, that we study here. See, pulses. India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. You know, pulses are important source of proteins and minerals and it is also known as poor man's meat because it gives good amount of protein. Pulses need a less soil moisture and it can survive in dry condition also. It has the first rank in the world and it grows in dry and light soil. Do you know? It needs temperature near about 20 to 30 degrees centigrade and rainfall it needs 50 to 75 centimeter. Where we grow this? Mostly Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Rajasthan, etc. Do you know it is also called leguminous crop? Why it is called leguminous crops? Because it plays a very important role in crop rotation. Do you know? The leguminous crops because it has the ability to fix the nitrogen which is available in the atmosphere and it restores the soil fertility. And now major pulses that are grown in India are tur, arhar, urad, moong, masoor, peas and grams. Now food crops other than grains. Sugarcane. This is the tropical as well as subtropical crops that requires almost year to grow. Now, it can be grown in a variety of soil as long as they are fertile and well drained. Do you know? It needs manual labor from sowing to the harvesting. Every step it needs a manual work. It required for sugarcane. Do you know it grows in hot and humid temperature near about 21 to 27 degree centigrade and the rainfall 75 to 100 centimeter. Do you know sugarcane is a raw material that we use for the manufacture of sugar, jaggery that we call gur, khansari and molasses, and these are used in the industries for manufacturing sugars and other products. Oil seeds. Now, many varieties of oil seeds are also grown in our country and you know about 12% cropped area of the country. So, the major soil seeds produced are groundnut, mustard, coconut, sesame, till, soybean, castor seeds, cotton seeds, linseed and sunflower. Do you know the extracted oil of these soil is used for cooking and as a raw material used in the production of soap, some cosmetic materials, ointments, etc. and even for the animals these products are using. Groundnut. First oil seed, that is the groundnut. Groundnut is the major oil seeds produced and it is grown, it is called a kharif crop. Rainy season it is sowing period. Gujarat was the largest producer of the groundnut. These are followed by Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. In 2015-16, while linseed and mustard, these are rabi crops. Sesame is a kharif crop. It is grown in North India and rabi crops in South India. Castor is both. We call it is rabi and kharif crop. It is the second after the China in the world. Next, see the tea. Tea is called a plantation crop. This is a beverage crop. It also called a beverage crop. Was introduced. Do you know how the tea is introduced? Tea is introduced by the British in India. The bus plant requires a tropical, subtropical climate. It needs warm and moist, frost-free place throughout the year. Along with it needs deep and fertile, well-drained soil, which is rich in humus and organic matter. Frequent showers evenly distributed over the years, and these are necessary conditions for the growth of tender leaves. It required a temperature near about 10 to 30 degree and the rainfall above 200 centimeter. Do you know? Tea is a labor intensive industry which require abundant, cheap and skilled labor, and they pluck the leaves and they are processed with the tea gardens and maintain their freshness. Major tea producing regions of India are Assam, hills of Darjeeling and Jalpaiguri districts in West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya, Andhra Pradesh and Tripura. Do you know in 2008, India was the third largest producer of the tea after China and the Turkey. Next, we are taking the coffee. It is also commercial crop, plantation crop. In 2014, India produced near about 3.5% of the world's coffee production. Do you know India coffee is known world for its good quality. That is why its demand is more in other country and it is exported. Now, Arabica variety initially brought from Yemen and is produced in India. It has a great demand all over the world. I already explained. Its cultivation was introduced in India on the Baba Budan hills earlier by the British. Karnataka is a major producer of coffee. Do you know how much temperature it needs? It required the temperature near about 23 to 28 degrees centigrade and rainfall to 150 to 200 centimeter. So now today what we studied, what are the agriculture activities in India, what is called primitive subsistence farming, intensive farming, what are the commercial farming, what are the different type of food grains grown in our country, what are the different types of pulses are grown in our country, what are the commercial crops, how we are growing sugar cane, where it is growing, what type of temperature and rainfall it needs, coffee and tea. On next time I will take the horticulture crops and some other different method used for agriculture practices. Thank you.